I want to thank somebody who put so much work into this event, Terry Bean. Give Terry a big round of applause.
Bean is the president and CEO of Bean Investment Real Estate, a private company that trades and invests in commercial real estate as well as large residential complexes.
He's 66 years old. He's accused of having sex with a child in a hotel room in Eugene.
Mr. Bean is well known amongst the movers and shakers in the Democratic Party.
The Supreme Court ruled today that if anyone wants to read dirty books or look at dirty movies in his own home, he may do so, and it's none of the law's business.
All of a sudden, video was the big thing.
Holmes pioneered the switch from porn on film to private video cassette.
VHS broke. I couldn't believe how much money there was.
You're the first, or one of the first, to do something. You could make money on it.
Before the public rise of the AIDS crisis, Falcon Studios was controversial for profiting off the distribution of barebacking videos, which featured male anal sex without condoms. By the 1980s, they were the undisputed leader in gay pornography.
He got involved in politics first and foremost because he needed to protect his business.
At the time of his passing in 2000 from AIDS-related illness, Holmes owned several major gay pornography studios, including Falcon, Mustang, and Jock Studios. Holmes made Terry Bean the executor of his estate. Bean also served as the president of the Holmes Foundation, which he established in 2002 after selling Holmes' porn empire for $9.05 million. Terry Bean was one of the founders of the Gay Rights National Lobby and the Human Rights Campaign Fund, which merged in 1980 to become the Human Rights Campaign.
Terry Bean earlier were really some of who we refer to as the founding fathers of HRC.
They're the largest LGBT civil rights advocacy group and political lobbying organization in the United States. According to the IRS, in 2014, the Human Rights Campaign had a revenue of $38,538,422. HRC spends their money creating propaganda like this, a 17-page guide called Safer Sex for Trans Bodies, where they get creative with their Orwellian newspeak and doublethink, creating new terminology for basic human anatomy. The HRC introduces a term called front hole, which they say is, quote, sometimes used for the word vagina. A front hole may, quote, self-lubricate depending on age and hormones. The definition they give for the word vagina is, quote, we use this word to talk about the genitals of trans women who have had bottom surgery. According to the HRC, the term vagina is reserved for males who identify as trans and have their penises surgically flipped inside out to create a pseudo-vagina, which must be treated as a wound and dilated every day to prevent it from closing up. HRC is promoting the irrevocably misogynistic idea that the real vagina of a woman is defined as a hole. More on this in a future episode. Bean is also a co-founder of the Gay and Lesbian Victory Fund.
Glamour Week reported Bean raised significant amounts of money for President Obama's campaign.
Terry Bean has been a major fundraiser for President Obama, bundling a reported $500 million for his 2012 re-election campaign.
A bundler is a volunteer fundraiser who collects contributions from other individuals and delivers checks to a campaign in a bundle. Hence the nickname Bundler.
I want to thank somebody who put so much work into this event, Terry Bean. Give Terry a big round of applause.
Many of these bundlers are powerful and wealthy donors, but since individuals can only donate $2,700 to a single campaign, they turn to bundling to maximize their political impact.
In the 2008 and 2012 election cycles combined, Bean single-handedly raised over $1 million for Obama. He was a delegate to every Democratic National Convention from 1992 to 2008. In 2008, he became the first gay member of Obama's National Finance Committee. Past recipients of his financial support include Bill Clinton, Al Gore, John Kerry, and Hillary Clinton.
And here's Mr. Obama praising Bean at a 2009 event for the Human Rights Campaign, the politically influential gay rights group he co-founded.
To my great friend and supporter, Terry Bean, co-founder of HRC.
There's no single word that can describe him.
Human, extraordinary,
Innovator,
Magnanimous.
persistent,
unstoppable, visionary,
tenacious, successful,
deep humility. All that's 2 words.
Terry's the best. He's the
Police
best.
say they have evidence that a grand jury agreed should result in an indictment against Bean. He's charged with 2 counts of sodomy in the 3rd degree and 1 count of sex abuse in the 3rd degree.
The attorney for that alleged victim, who's now 17, tells me he's been traumatized by the legal process and investigation. He wants no part of a long, drawn-out public trial.
Terry Bean is a principled and esteemed citizen of the state.
Bean and his attorneys entered the courtroom to begin their fight against charges that the 66-year-old had sex with a 15-year-old boy. The district attorney says it happened in a Eugene hotel last year and arrested Bean and his then-boyfriend Kaya Lawson last month.
On the night of September 28, 2013, Terry Bean and Kaya Lawson drove to Eugene for a University of Oregon Ducks football game. The night before the game, Lawson contacted the boy, then a high school sophomore, on Grindr. Around 10 p.m. on September 27th, Bean and Lawson pulled up to a 7-Eleven parking lot in Eugene, Oregon, in Bean's black Mercedes S500. Lawson messaged the boy over Grindr, while Bean drove his car to meet him and pick him up, bringing him to a nearby hotel where the child sex abuse took place. The boy told police a conversation took place in the car and both Bean and Lawson knew he was 15.
A police spokesman said the charges come after months of investigation and are not issued lightly.
This is a high-profile individual by many accounts, and our agency takes great care and caution in making sure, as we go forward in an investigation like this, to do everything right.
Lawson's former attorney told the Oregonian newspaper that Lawson had stumbled upon a camera Bean had used to secretly record sexual encounters with him and other men.
His mother was in court with me and tells me Kaya never had contact with the 15-year-old, adding that Terry Bean arranged the whole encounter. Lawson's mother, Tim Nuanamani, didn't want to go on camera, but she willingly talked about what's happened to her son. She tells me Kaya Lawson, charged with 2 counts of 3rd-degree sodomy and 1 count of 3rd-degree sex abuse, is himself a victim, a pawn of sorts that was used by Terry Bean, in her words, to get young kids. Grooming, she calls it. The attorney for the 15-year-old was in court today also.
He's been traumatized, and he'll be living with that trauma. It's important that the 2 adults involved be held to account for that.
She asked the judge to remove the boy's name and use only his initials in the indictment, so details of what happened remain sealed for now.
Prosecutors say Bean is now trying to settle his case by paying the alleged victim.
So a judge will rule tomorrow on Bean's request on what's being called a civil compromise, and prosecutors, they're strongly against it at this point.
Attorneys for Terry Bean will ask a judge to endorse an out-of-court civil financial settlement between the 66-year-old and his alleged victim, who was 15 years old at the time. Yeah, this case took a few twists and turns along the way. At the end of the road, though, Mr. Bean is free to go from all the sex abuse charges that he faced here in Eugene. It's a result that the district attorney here calls, he says it offends justice. Today's dismissal, really frustrating for prosecutors.
Mr. Bean offered him over $200,000 to civilly compromise this case. Now, if you're this child and you have the choice between embarrassment and $5 a day and over $200,000 for your use, it seems to me that that would be a highly influential factor in deciding what you're going to do.
Bean's case was dismissed without prejudice.
If my client decides to make a business decision and move on with his life and get back to the things that he does, which is commercial development and social change, he'll do that.
And some say his clout and means will help him avoid prosecution.
We expect equal justice in the United States. The law should apply to all equally. This says it applies to all equally unless you have a fat wallet, in which case it doesn't really apply to you, but it applies to your co-defendant who doesn't have a fat wallet.
Terry Bean has been a major fundraiser for President Obama, bundling a reported $500,000 for his 2012 re-election campaign.
According to the Center for Public Integrity, 80% of the bundlers who collected more than $500,000 for President Obama were appointed to key administration posts after the election. Big-time bundlers receive special treatment if their candidate is elected. Presidential medals, government contracts, and even ambassador posts have been doled out in the past.
Prosecutors filed this objection to a civil settlement Tuesday, arguing Bean needs to be held accountable in a court of law. Of Bean, Deputy District Attorney Scott Healy says this defendant should not be able to purchase an escape from the consequences of his own serial criminal misconduct, adding that Bean is a continuing threat to young, vulnerable victims he has been abusing for decades. Prosecutors continue building their case, filing new allegations from two other men, one claiming he was abused by Bean as a teenager in 1979. Yeah, this case took a few twists and turns along the way. At the end of the road, though, Mr. Bean is free to go from all the sex abuse charges that he faced here in Eugene. It's a result that the district attorney here calls, well, he says it offends justice.
He's been traumatized, and he'll be living with that trauma. It's important that the two adults involved be held to account for that.
Subscribe and hit the bell in the top right corner for more unique videos exposing and connecting the dots about the normalization of pedophilia, the transgender movement, and the spread of transhumanism. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. This subject matter is dark, so positive messages are appreciated. Check out my other surreal investigative videos about sex robots from a perspective you won't find anywhere else. My channel is not monetized. If you want to help me make more content like this, donate through PayPal at womenagainstSexbots@protonmail.com. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and don't let them gaslight you.